right, guys, thanks for tuning in. My name's Scott Shelton here, creative director at Scholar House Media. Super excited to be joined by my co-host, the global director of business development at Cyanna Education Services, Mr. Danny Ortiz.
What's up, man? That's a long title, but man, we here. We are having fun. What's going on?
Well, you earned it, my friend. You earned it. You are worth it.
Mr. Worldwide.
That's right, Mr. Worldwide. That's right. And we are super excited as well to be joined by the founder and CEO.
First of all, the one and only.
The one and only.
Founder.
And CEO of Cyanna Education Services and the co-founder of Monty Christopher, Mr. Chris Eckels.
That's a lot of titles.
Thank you very much. I feel like I've earned them.
You have.
You sure have.
Especially now that I'm the oldest guy in the room these days. It's
not by much, but you are the oldest.
Quite a journey.
That's right. Well, we're excited to talk with you today, Chris, because as we get started on this podcast and started on this journey, you know, it's really important to know who Cyanna Education Services is. And what that entails is, right, is how did you get started? Like, how did we get to where we are today with Cyanna, as well as where are we now and what's ahead, right? What's ahead of us for the future?
Did you dream up this thing, Chris? Like, did you dream Cyanna up? I mean, where did Cyanna start? Where does it come from? Like,
well, it just comes from an opportunity. It just started with an opportunity. I was working for a large network of for-profit schools back in the early 2000s when the reputation of for-profit was sketchy at best.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I started in the regulatory field in government relations.
Did you start as a CEO? Or
no.
What were you doing at the time?
No, I was working for a company called Tech Skills that did front-end computer hardware type stuff.
Like CompTIA.
CompTIA courses. Then they melded into some medical courses. But at the end of the day, it was certificate-based. And they didn't know they were regulated. So when I started in 2001, I was dealing with revocation hearings in 2 states immediately, right out the gate. So we cut our teeth on state regulation. And frankly, they didn't know they were regulated at all. They just blew up, had 30 campuses in 17 states. So it became an opportunity to learn state regs because it was a necessity.
Let me ask you this, though. I know many people may not know this that are hearing us today. I'm trying to get at something. You have a bigger degree than him and I do. What did you start as?
So I am an attorney by trade.
Whoa, everybody make sure your
I'm an
ducks in
attorney
a row.
by trade. So I
was
in-house counsel. I was the senior vice president of government relations counsel.
There you go.
When I left. And actually, they were our first client at Cyanna.
Huh.
Wow.
So that's always a good way to
So did you flip
start
them?
a company.
You flipped them?
Well, you know, the opportunity was there. In fact, I tried to sell the idea to them, and they thought I was crazy. But
the actual company you was working for?
Yeah, I tried to sell the idea to them, and because all the state regulators were telling me there's such a need out there.
Yeah.
Because we turned them from the used car lot of education into a real school, quite frankly. You know,
they were in trouble.
They were in trouble from day one. And from a compliance standpoint.
Gotcha.
They were doing a good job, but they had the wrong model. They didn't think about it. It was like a gym membership. High volume, low utilization. Like, I'm the best gym member ever because I pay my bill every month, but I never show up. So they were selling the idea of come if you want and learn, but if you don't want to, that's okay. Just pay us.
Just give us the money.
Yeah. So that doesn't work in state regulation.
Wow.
Yeah, there are certain rules and regs you have to follow. So we learned what those were, and bada boom, bada bing.
Well, the fact that you was able to present it to them and they didn't want it, but you still saw the opportunity. That's crazy.
I don't know if they didn't want it. They didn't understand the vision of it.
Gotcha.
And they also didn't necessarily want to help what was perceived as competition. But, you know, to our advantage, we've gotten to know, we've worked almost in every state there is. We have friends and contacts in a lot of state agencies, and that's really where it started. The idea, and when you say, where did Cyanna start? I remember driving. We were taking 3 campuses in North Carolina. We had a school in Charlotte, a school in Raleigh, and a school in Greensboro. And I'm driving between, I believe it was between, it wasn't Raleigh. I was headed to either Greensboro or Charlotte when the idea really hit, because we had just came out of a meeting with the North Carolina Community College System that oversaw the proprietary school division, wherein we were dealing with some updates. And it's really just filing paper. That is when I'm driving through North Carolina. I'm visual, so I see it.
You're seeing a whole bunch of files.
I still see it. I'm saying, like, if we can take that information and put it in the system, in a computer system, and that's how I talk. By the way, I know software now more than I ever should. That's another story for another podcast. Yeah, but suffice to say, that's where we said when compliance meets technology, when we'd have something, and it worked. Yeah. It worked.
So the marriage of compliance and technology is really at the core of what Cyanna, how it started and where it is today. So can you talk a little bit about why that's so important?
Well, I start with, and I say this all the time, but education and technology transcends any industry.
Yeah.
So why that is important is, one, it utilizes everything that we're capable of within Cyanna. We have 3 pillars. We're regulatory experts. We consult. And that word consulting sometimes has a bad reputation. But quite frankly, we help new institutions, existing institutions, old institutions, understanding the regulations that they are to have to comply with. So, but from there, we've always had software that manages their school. And we've also written and owned curriculum, and we build curriculum for others.
That's right.
So those are the 3 pillars that's been from the get-go. And we've known from the outset that online was always going to be the next evolution. And it's all obviously taken off.
One thing you taught me, I think, knowing you for a long time, Chris, you taught me this, and I want you to jump on it a little bit, because I know you're an evangelist for this. Education is everything, and at any point of economy, doesn't matter if the economy is up or down. I've learned this from you. Someone needs to be educated. If the economy is up, you got to educate. If the economy is down, you got to touch on that a little bit, how education touches every aspect of life.
It's counter-cyclical to the economy. Honestly, the lower things go, and we're in a weird time right now that they're talking about, could there be a recession? What is needed then is skills to kind of garner another opportunity. It's job changers, right? And so at the core, people don't necessarily think about what education is. At its root is it teaches you some valuable trade or some ability to do something for others and or yourself that reaps a benefit to you or your family, whether that be compensation or otherwise.
Yeah, because education is in everything.
Absolutely.
So today, Cyanna, and you talk about these 3 big pillars, right? We're talking software, and that's Ed Lumina platform, right?
Ed Lumina.
Curriculum and compliance. What else makes Cyanna successful, right?
It's people in relationships. And it at its core, we've survived based on relationships and reputation. Since 2008, Cyanna, has a name out there that has earned the trust of people. And it started with the ability to take a school that was out of compliance, 30 campuses, and make them compliant. So we did a mea culpa with all those state regulators. A lot of them are still around that remember those days when, and by the way, there was funding issues. Education has a big problem with the funding of it, but that's a whole nother topic. But back when I started, there was a company, Sally Mae was funding unregulated schools, folks that weren't compliant. And there was a big hubbub about that. So it was at that time we entered the market, TechSkills entered the market, and we had to really start complying with the rules and regs and how we were funded as well. And it was during that time that we've earned the trust of those state regulators. And then that's grown from there. It's just word of mouth. We literally in the last 2 years only have started dabbling with marketing because we have a media company. But
Scott,
suffice to say,
the good-looking guy.
we never spent a dime on marketing. We never needed to. We grew organically, word of mouth, and that's why we have sustainability. But it's really the core. The team that we have today is the best that we've ever had. The collection of team members is unbelievable.
I want to say this is a testament to you, though. You said relationship, because I know that you care about people, right? And I know that you serve people. Like everyone that comes in contact with Chris, you'll give the shirt off your back, right? And so I think caring about, well, depending who, like let's say that.
Right. Well, suffice to say, no one wants to see that. But
that's the thing. But I want to say this, the relationship aspect of it, right? The fact that you haven't had to market, right, is because I believe you're the foundation. Like if we talk about the foundation of Cyanna is you. And I think with all the people that we have such a great team. That likeness of liking people and serving one another, that comes out because it comes out in you.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it's just a byproduct of enjoying what you do, right? And so I think about it. Like after I conclude this, I'm gonna go play golf with some friends, right? And it's funny. One's a former high school friend that is now my trustee. We helped him get elected. He's a trustee for where I live and where we have offices. The other one works for one of the banks that we do business with. And then the other one runs a department at a university that we work with and I've worked with before in education. It's if you love what you do and you're good at what you do and you have services, people will remember that and you'll figure out how to work with people. I think about who I spend time with. It's people I do some work with because
100%.
You love what you do and then it just translates into enjoying each other. So, I don't know if I deserve that much credit. It's just I think people see that, and we had the team in yesterday. Everyone enjoyed everybody.
Yeah.
We celebrated Allison's birthday.
Yeah, we did. We sang happy birthday. Not in key, though.
I will not tell the age, but she's celebrating another number again, I guess is what we say these days. But
well, you have the team in place. You have the technology in place. What's next? What's ahead? And that is a question for both the education industry, but also part and parcel to Cyanna.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm very excited about that we've been investing in for a while, in fact, Danny introduced me to it, is the XR technology. Yeah. When he shared it with me, he was involved with a company that was dabbling in this, and he showed me some of the things that they were doing with an AR to start with. And then he took me into an office where I put on the headset for the first time.
I have the video, by the way.
Do you really?
And we need to throw that up somewhere.
That's funny because
I do have that video.
I remember my hands started sweating, and my body was changed. I was
fully
acclimated
immersive
to that different environment, and I knew where I was, but I was like, I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we've been investing in that, and I'm excited for some of the tools and aspects of that. I think we're a little ahead, but we're excited about some of those things. But I think fundamentally education is going to go back to the roots of where it started, because we think about all of these universities and what have you, they have a novel size list of courses that you can take that 90+% of them are not translated to a vocation. I think younger people, the younger generation, is understanding that there needs to be a return on my investment.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
And I see it going back to its roots of what what am I going to get in return for this education? And I think it's become less traditional. I think we're going to see less tradition. And well, you have one working for you now that's a model. I preach it all the time.
That's right. Our producer, Nathan.
Producer is a high school graduate that decided to go, I want to work full time, and then I will take courses and pay for those courses while I earn my degree. And I honestly think in the next 10 to 20 years, the nomenclature is going to change. I think we're going to see people, and we see it today in a lot of industry, particularly software development. I don't care if you have a computer science degree. I don't care if you're educated. If you can write code, that's all that matters. It's essentially, can you speak that language? Can you understand and translate that
skills.
language into something? You're valuable.
Yeah.
And the same is going to be with other industries. And I think what we're going to also see is a lot of the business sector taking the bull by the horns and training their own bench, if you will.
And we're already seeing that with Apples and the Googles.
You are. You absolutely
Apple
are.
has its own. Google has its own. I think Disney was the first one that really pushed this. Disney had its own college for years, right? And so you're absolutely right. A lot of employers are understanding, in order for me to get what I need, I'm going to have to train my own people, which is great for Cyanna.
It is. I mean, we want to partner. We are essentially a helpmate for any institution. And that's all we need and want to be. And I think we've proven to be able to do that. Yeah. And we're excited about some of the parts. And the depth and breadth of the things that you think about. I mean, we've worked with any number of things that you wouldn't even comprehend, nor would I have 5-10 years ago, from gunsmithing to, you name it. We've been a part of it. It's insane.
You said two things that stuck out when you was talking there. You was talking about the XR VR stuff. I love the fact that Cyanna's not afraid of imagining a different world, right? Because the meta world, me and you've been talking about this for a long time. Yeah. The meta is this thing that Facebook turned at. Like, we were into this for the last 6-7 years. Yeah. But I love the fact that, you're willing to take that risk, because there is a risk, right?
There is.
But I think the greater the risk, the greater the reward on that, right?
Well, I hope so.
I'm hoping when it comes to that world. So if you want to elaborate on that, and then the question I have for you, because you mentioned vocations, do you think that vocational school is coming back?
I think you're going to see more of it. Yeah, absolutely. And you go to any small town, some of the most successful small businesses are HVAC,
blue collar. That's
blue
right.
Collar.
That's
I mean,
100% right.
And it's a need. It's an absolute need, mm-hmm. and I don't know where we got to a point where we look down upon that. Mm-hmm. There were some bad press for some reason about sending someone going to vocational school as opposed to a higher ed liberal arts school. Mm-hmm. I don't understand that. I really don't. And the older I get, it kind of makes me think back on where, I was a history poli-sci guy. Now, what was that going to get me? I enjoyed the courses, but I look back on it today, the access that I have, I can read about anything.
100%.
I can talk
Google.
to somebody.
Yeah.
I can, so really what translated my experience from college was the activities that I got to participate with, like going to work in Washington, D.C. for a semester for
100%.
Congressman.
That immersive experience, yeah.
Being a spokesman for his campaign the following semester, clerking as at a law firm, and then prior to that, being a runner. I learned more about the court system being a runner, filing. Now this is paper again too. Back in the day.
This is pre-technology.
I was one of the first.
Prehistoric, okay.
Sadly, we were using index cards to do research.
This is what drove your need for compliance and technology. It's at your core.
It's shocking. It's shocking that I actually can answer some software questions.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but going back to the experience of what XR, in my opinion, is going to do, I think it's going to supplement a lot of current curriculum. I don't think it's you're not going to sit there in an Oculus and spend 4 years in an Oculus, right? You're not going to spend, but you talked about Meta. That commercial that's just recently come out has visually displayed everything I've been talking about for the last 3 years.
100%.
You're going to be able to work on something, whether it be in the medical field or the technical field or, the trades. You're going to be able to work with something that's not real. It's in that meta world. It's in the virtual world, but you won't screw up anything. You're
not killing nobody.
No one gets hurt. No one gets hurt. Maybe emotionally. That's it.
Yeah.
If you make the wrong cut as a doctor, that arm.
Yeah. No. And we built a forklift simulator, and you can't damage a warehouse in a virtual world, but you can get practice prior to putting, your buns on a seat.
And almost most importantly, anywhere. Right.
Anywhere.
It's accessibility.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
don't have to go to a lab. You don't have to travel via, what's an Oculus now? $300?
Yeah.
I mean, the tech is affordable and it's portable, and that's a huge game changer. So
100%.
And it's probably going to be in your frames in the next 2 or 3 years.
that's right.
Seriously.
I need them because I hate wearing frames. I need a reason. I'm
you
blind.
You look good with them.
I'm blind, by the way, but I just do not like to wear it.
That's right.
I hope it looks like I have eyes. Sometimes my...
Do you not know you're blind? What are you?
I see better than I hear, as my wife would tell me.
Well, we learned before we started this thing, only one side is working.
Yeah, left ear is working really well right now.
Well, Chris, super appreciative of the time today. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with when you think about, like the big picture of Cyanna Education Services?
Well, no, I just want to thank the team. I think we've only continued to grow and bring on experts that contribute. And I also go back to Jennifer Lampkin is still at the core of our consulting, has been with me for 20 plus years, which is hard. We both talk about how crazy that is, but essentially we are honored to be a part of the education system and to work with the variety of schools from K-12 to proprietary to trades to the higher ed and the university level. I mean, we started in the for-profit sector. It's still our heart, and it contributes quite a bit to the industry. But the depth and breadth of what we get to experience is so exciting. And I can tell you there are things that we're going to be a part of in the next decade that none of us understand or comprehend.
Yeah.
And I think locally, too, we've been known all over the world, quite frankly. We've worked in 4 continents.
Yeah, 9 countries now.
Yeah, and with Intel plopping down right here in our backyard in Licking County, Ohio, it's going to be interesting to see how involved we get with some of that. And we're already getting having some discussions as it relates to that. Yeah. But it's exciting. It's an exciting opportunity. I'm excited about the Discovery Learning Platform that we're developing now. Mm-hmm. We're using Discovery Platform because I think the old adage of a learning management system is old, because Discovery is really more in line with what's going to happen with education.
That's good. Yeah.
So it's we're embarking upon a wild new time, and it's really exciting. So
that's awesome.
I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well,
proud of the team that helps us.
That's right. Well, I speak for both Danny and myself. We're extremely excited and extremely grateful to be on this path with you. We're excited to see where this goes as well.
Man. What an honor. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys are doing this. This is exciting. I have been wanting you guys to do this for a while, so I'm excited to see where this goes too.
Well, here we go. So
best of luck.
Listen, the fact that you're the first, love it.
Yeah, that's right. The best yet to come.
Honored.
That's right.
It'll only get better from here.
That's right. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Danny, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Scott, man. What a good time.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for tuning in.